welcome to a half hour of MINDWEBS. Short stories from the worlds of speculative fiction.
This story comes from the book Stellar One, edited by Judy Lynn Del Rey. It's Larry Niven's Singularities Make Me Nervous. Homecoming. The vast interstellar spaces had brought me back to my starting point, there below me at the top of Rand's Needle. 300 stories of glass windows flash sunset fire at me, and the taxi slants down toward the landing roof. Homecoming. I should be feeling safe and warm. I don't. A broad flight of black marble steps leads me down into the lobby. I hail the guard before he notices me. He smiles and waits while I use the key. He doesn't have one himself, and then holds the elevator door for me. He's noticed nothing unusual. I hold my apartment key ready. Will he have visitors? But that's silly. I didn't have visitors that night. 12 floors down. I stand squarely in front of the peephole and ring the bell. A voice I know asks, "Who is it?" "Can you see me?" "Yes." I grin. My face feels tight. My breathing's funny. "Who am I then?" Hesitation. "I wish I could take your retina prints." "They'd match, George. I'm you." Sure you are." He's skeptical. I'm not offended. "I am you, and I've got a key to my own apartment. Shall I prove it?" "Go ahead." I unlock the door and walk in. The shock of recognition gets me in the pit of the stomach. Tables, chairs, favorite recline chair, couch, showing the barely visible stain of a spilled eggnog, the Eddie Jones originals, the gallon brandy bottle on the wet bar. 26 years in space, most of it in frozen sleep. But now it's over. I'm home. It's all here, all in place, right down to the tenant, George Cox, who's standing well back of me, taking no chances. Thing that may or may not have started the universe, that may have sown the universe with quantum black holes smaller than an atomic nucleus and weighing more than a large asteroid. The possibility that the universe itself is inside somebody else's black hole. White hole spewing matter from nowhere. But he fought clear of one subject. "Gentlemen, we simply do not know what goes on inside the Schwarzschild radius of a black hole. We do not know that the matter actually goes to a point. It may be stopped by a force stronger than any we know of." "What are the paths through a rotating black hole?" He smiled like one sharing the joke. "We expect to find a hole in the theory here. We postulate a law of cosmic censorship, a process that would prevent anything from ever leaving the black hole. Otherwise, we could get black holes with so much spin to them that there's no Schwarzschild radius around the singularity. A naked singularity would be very messy. The mathematics is inconsistent, like dividing 0 by 0. If he could see me now, both of me together, surely it would be singularity enough. We don't risk being seen together. The younger George Cox continues his training. Newsmen interview him and Yoki on the need for more Bussard ramjets and scout ships to seek out Earth-like worlds that circle other stars. The older George Cox plays the stock market and waits. Frank Curie has spent as much time in space as I have, up until the Ulysses flight, which hasn't happened yet. He stands about 5'0", stocky, well-muscled. His big square jaw gives him a bulldog look. He masses less than me or Yoki, and so do the food and oxygen required to keep him alive for the year and a half he'll be awake. There's no reason Space Branch shouldn't have picked him over me, yet I keep wondering, what was different this time? Did the younger George concentrate too much on his stocks, too little on training? Did he stop trying because I was the proof that he would succeed anyway? Well, too late now. We've had one break. They picked me to pilot the ferry ship up and to help Frank with the final checkout of Ulysses. Frank and I go through the checkpoints together. The guards pass us through without any fuss. The shuttle field is bright with artificial lights beneath a gray-black sky. Frank's nervous, excited. He's talking too much. Muscles flex at the edges of his jaw. 26 years. What can happen in 26 years? They could have immortality by then, or a world dictatorship, teleportation, faster than light travel. They could get that from you if Probe 3 works out. Yeah, if Probe 3 comes back about the time I leave, but that's not too useful for space travel, George. There aren't enough black holes. No kidding. George, what do you think I'll find when I come back? Yourself. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I swallow it. Me, waiting at the shuttle field to tell you all about it. Unless you go too far in, then you might not come out until every star's dead, Frank. Yeah, I know. Well, care to change your mind? Thinking there's a chance? Oh, come on. And that settles that. We've almost reached the shuttle now. It's a lifting body, not large, with a radiation shield around the tailpipe and an escalator ramp that leads up onto the nose. I'm talking too much myself. I'm as nervous as Frank. Lucky there were 2 gates. I half expected the guards to stop us on the grounds that one of us was already inside. But apparently he got through without a hitch, or else he didn't make it. Frank's stepping onto the ramp when the other George Cox slides like a shadow from behind it. He's holding a heavy spanner. And wiry Frank whips around and plants his fist in George's belly, crosses instantly with a right plenty of class, that boy shows. And George goes down like a consignment of cooked spaghetti, flat on his back, his face turned up to the harsh lights. Frank sees his face. He freezes. I don't have a spanner. I use the stiff edge of my palm against Frank's neck. Frank turns, looking bewildered, and I hit him on the point of the jaw. He goes down. I take his pulse. It hasn't stopped. George Cox's heart is beating too, but he's showing no other sign of life. I don't need to take my own pulse. It's thundering in my ears. The other George Cox may need a hospital. He's in poor shape to pilot an interstellar spacecraft. Ulysses hovers before me, enormous. There are attitude jets like nostrils, but no signs of a main thruster. Only the hydrogen fusion booster as big as Ulysses itself that'll run me up to the Bussard ramjet speed. From that point on, I'll be running on interstellar hydrogen, sweeping it in and compressing it in magnetic pinch fields until it undergoes fusion. I've been through this before. I'm not even nervous. As the metaphysical complexities grow ever more hideously tangled, my choices grow simpler. I'm going to steal Ulysses because I can't possibly turn back. I'll follow the return path again because, well, it's my only hope of straightening this out. I could have been killed that last trip through the Singularity. I could be killed this time. But the ghost of the older George Cox is no longer with me. And the younger George Cox, the man I left tied back to back with Frank Curie for similitude, has become the real George Cox. There's been no break in his timeline, and no part of his timeline is me. I'm fatherless, motherless, a ghost without origin. If George keeps his head, he'll stay out of prison. He spotted an imposter, his own double, walking toward the shuttle with Frank. He was about to do something about it with the aid of a handy spanner when Frank exploded in his face. And that's all George knows. Docking. The whole ship goes clunk-clunk. Up to now, they could have stopped me, but now it's too late. As I cross to the manlock on Ulysses, I feel the prickly awareness of the second Ulysses hidden on the backside of the moon. I found a way to breed very expensive spacecraft. I ought to patent it. How did it all get started anyway? Was there ever a George Cox who followed the flight plan exactly? Yeah. And then a second George Cox watched Probe 3 return even before Ulysses took off. That gave him an idea. If Probe 3 could return before it started, then so could he. Was he the older George Cox who knocked on my apartment door a lifetime ago? Or was he already several cycles gone? And what will happen if I just follow the flight plan this time? No, I don't dare. it would start the whole thing over again. Or would it? I wish I could ask Bauerhaus. But people like Bauerhaus don't like singularities in the first place. I don't blame them.